Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on Dragoon Guru Control. So a couple weeks ago in my locals, I actually competed at the tournament and actually earned second place with it. Now, my deck actually went through a few changes since the last time, but I will show you guys a majority of what's still in the deck that I was playing beforehand prior to the changes. And I'll explain what cards I cut for reasons as we go on. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Oops, well, that already spoiled one of the cards, but it doesn't really matter. It was in my last list anyway. But moving on, the main deck's 40 cards, starting off with the monsters, 3 copies of Guru. So this guy is basically your searcher. If this card is flipped face up, you can add any Subterra card from your deck to your hand. And also has a Book of Moon effect, so you can target itself plus one other face-up monster and flip them face down. And what's cool about this is that this card becomes a quick effect if you have another Subterra card on the field. So for example, Subterra Cave Clash, that's going to be your ideal card to really keep on the field, so that way Guru will become a quick effect and it basically act as a form of disruption. Next, 3 copies of Fiendus. This is your Omni Negate, and it's really only good as long as you have a Guru on field, so which in general you should anyway. But anyway, yeah, you discard this, you can negate anything while flipping your Subterra Guru back face down. And yeah, now of course it doesn't destroy the card, but again, the fact that it can negate is really nice. 1 copy of Nemesis Archer. So this basically acts as a, what's that card? Aaron from the Lightsworn archetype. So at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's face down defense position monster, and you control another Subterra monster, mainly Guru of course, you can shuffle that opponent's monster back into the deck. So that's pretty good. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Subterra monster from your deck and face up or face down defense. So it does have a really cool lingering, or not lingering effect, floating effect. I was running Umastrix, but I decided to cut it simply because on my final match, it basically lost me the game. It was a huge brick. Like, I never saw it prior to that final match, and when I finally did, I had no way of really using it. So yeah, these are really the only cards you should be running as far as the Guru matchup goes. Since this is the Dragoon variant, I am running 1 Dark Magician, 1 Red Ice Black Dragon. So yeah, gotta run the Dragoon package. And of course, 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Before it was Nibiru, but it never really saw play. And plus, right now, a lot of people in my locals are starting to revert back into either control decks or just simply play Tri-Brigade, because Tri-Brigade plays around Nibiru very easily. So yeah, I was a little iffy about Nibiru, so I decided, switch it up with Ash. Ash is still really good because every now and then you will come across other Dragoon players, and as soon as they launch that fusion, just hit with an Ash. And plus, like, it's really easy to stop Verite Anaconda with this deck too, so yeah, it's whatever. And plus, not to mention, it also stops other like draw power cards like Extravagance, Prosperity, or just any effect that can generate a lot of advantage. Definitely try to hit it with Ash as quickly as you can, as long as it's not chain blocked, of course. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the monsters. Now we're moving on to spells already. For spells, running 3 copies of the Hidden City. This is how you get access to your Guru really quickly. As soon as you play this, you search out a Subterra monster. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It also negates attacks, which is really nice. And what's really cool about this card is that it plays under the restriction of Red Ice Fusion. So like if you activate Red Ice Fusion, if it resolves and you bring out your Dragoon, you're not allowed to normal summon or special summon monsters, but you can still set. So you set Guru, then you can use the effect of Hidden City, flip it face up to bypass that restriction, and you can still generate a lot of advantage. So Hidden City is pretty busted. 1 Mystic Mind, though, just for going second. It's a really good card that really does come up every now and then. In fact, I saw this card a lot. And it came in clutch when it did. It also forces out negates too, so Mystic Mind is pretty nice. I'm also running 1 copy of Necro Valley because Necro Valley is just crazy good this format because, since the graveyard is like one of the most reliant spots for resources, Necro Valley basically says, nope, you can't move anything out of the graveyard. And yeah, and it really hurts Tri-Brigade too because, they usually banish their monsters out of the graveyard to link summon. So yeah, if you play this, they're going to struggle quite a bit. And to go with them, I'm running 1 Terraforming and 1 copy of Set Rotation. Set Rotation is also really nice because, it also plays around cards like Imperm. So like you give your opponent one of these field spells and you should be able to, just go from there because, you don't want your Guru to get negated. So Set Rotation is not too bad. So yeah. Moving on, 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. If you don't have access to this, you could still run Extravagance if you wanted to. So yeah, it's not the end of the world if you don't have this. I'm actually only running 2 copies of Red Ice Fusion because, 3 is kind of sacky, but I am running 1 copy of Magic Ice Fusion simply because in case my opponent outs my first Dragoon, I have a backup plan for a second one. Of course, I could always bring Red Ice Fusion up to 3 if I wanted to, but I'm still debating. So far, this is working for me. But beforehand, it was just 3 Red Ice Fusion, no Magical Ice. But again, I decided to make some changes to see if this works, and so far, it's working out. For the last of the one-ofs, 1 Cave Clash, and of course, 1 Caught by the Grave, because, you know, I don't want hand traps to stop my plays. So yeah, definitely got to hit them. All right, so that's it for the spells. Now moving on to traps. Traps are pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be running a lot of stun cards, actually. 3 Judgment, 3 Strike. These really don't need any explanation. 2 Final Battle. This card is super broken because it always resets itself. 2 Summon Limit. You know, it's basically just a trap card version of Winda. And 2 copies of There Can Be Only One. And last but not least, 1 copy of Metaverse just to get access to my field spells again. And yeah, Floodgates are pretty prevalent right now, and There Can Be Only One is definitely one of the best ones. Same thing with Summon Limit, so definitely give these a shot when you can. All right, so now we're moving on to the extra deck. Just give me a second here. All right, so extra deck, I'm actually running 2 copies of Dragoon because I mentioned this before. My opponent out to my first one. I do have a second one just at the ready. To deal with Dogmatica players, 1 Intes and 1 Omega. So like if they play Maximus and they force you to send 2 cards off of your extra deck, I usually just send these just so I can pop the Maximus. You know, the less they wall up, the better. 1 Stardust Dragon because I am running Starlight Road, as y'all saw the spoiler by accident. For Waking the Dragon targets, I'm running 1 copy of Naturia Exterior. This card is super good, especially against other control decks or Sky Strikers, because this basically just says they can't play spells and traps. I was running Last Warrior from Another Planet, but I decided to cut it because at this point, everyone could easily out that card. Dark Ruler No More, Imperm, Widow Anchor. Like, Sky Striker is popular in my locals. So yeah, just about anyone can out a Last Warrior from Another Planet. Lightning Storm outs it. So yeah, 1 Ultimate Falcon as another target, and 1 Mega Colossus. So this is pretty much the new addition. Before it was Boral Sword Dragon, but I decided to just go with this one because, you know, it's unaffected by monster effects except it exceeds monsters. Plus, he's huge, so yeah, that's pretty nuts. 1 Striker Dragon, 1 Predaplant Verte Anaconda, so that's pretty obvious. 1 Ausa, since the whole deck's primarily Earth. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. Link Spider and Link Reba, these do come up every now and then, especially if you still have to deal with that Dino matchup, which we do have a few Dino players that come and go from time to time. And if they give you that token, you know, you could just make these. Just an additional card to just get a little cheeky, 1 copy of Relinquished Anima. Since, you know, Fiendus is a level 1 monster, and if you do need to go into it, hey, this is a pretty good way just to just to throw off your opponent entirely. So Relinquished Anima is pretty nuts. All right, so that's pretty much it for the extra deck. Now moving on to the side deck. Now the side deck actually went through a lot of changes since I last, when I last played this deck. So now beforehand, I was already playing D-Shifter in my side deck anyway. This is primarily if I know for a fact I'm going to go second. And if I open up with it, I could just simply slap this at any given time and just, you know, banish all my opponent's resources, and I don't have to worry about it as much. But the new edition, which originally was a 2nd copy of Starlight Road, and if I'm not mistaken, a 3rd copy of Cosmic Cyclone, I decided to cut Cyclone to 2 because, for obvious reasons, I felt like this card was just slightly better. Heat Wave. So Heat Wave states that this card has to be the first card you activate on main phase 1. Neither player can normal or special summon an effect monster until your next draw phase. This is hilarious because of the fact that if you don't open up with your Dragoon package, this is another good alternative. Because thanks to cards like Hidden City, you can still bypass that restriction effect. You slap this up, your opponent can't summon any effect monsters until your next turn. And yeah, it just says you can't summon anything. And since you could just set your Guru anyway, activate Hidden City, flip it face up, I was like, dang, that's actually pretty good. It's like another good way just to, you know, keep your combos going regardless of the restrictions. There are ways you can cheat it out. So Heat Wave is actually not a bad card to consider. But anyway, moving on. 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. If I had a Lightning Storm, which I do actually own 1, but I need 2 more at least just to get a full playset. So I'm running Harpy's Feather Duster and 1 copy of Raigeki. Raigeki actually came in clutch a lot on the tournament. So I saw this card like maybe 2 to 3 times, and it just won me so many games. I had a Guru Mirror match, which he was playing a slightly different variant, but yeah. If I can get Lightning Storms, at least 2 more Lightning Storms, I'll probably change the Cosmics and the Raigeki to like 3 Lightning Storm and then the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. But I kind of like the way this looks for right now. I am running Imperm on the side just in case. 2 copies of Waken the Dragon, you know, just like pretty obvious reasons. And 1 copy of Starlit Road. It's just a better version of Griffin Wing. And it does come up every now and then. And plus the fact that you can get Stardust Dragon off of it, that's pretty nice. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.